The Mumbai Indians are champions of the Indian Premier League 2020. They've been the standout team of the tournament. They won by 5 wickets on the night to clinch a an unprecedented fifth IPL title. In unprecedented times, they've been the exceptional team. Delhi are second, but they're second by some distance to Rohit Sharma's side. This is Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Let's look back at that game. Sanjay Manjrekar here, so too Gautam Gambhir and Tom Moody in what was almost an inevitable sort of end to what looked like an inevitable sort of season when Mumbai really hit their straps. Sanjay, first thoughts.
Well, I think cricketing logic prevailed, and I'm generally happy as a cricketer when, cricketing logic prevails and the right team wins. Whether it's Mumbai Indians or Delhi Capitals or KKR, doesn't matter. The best team in the tournament has won the tournament, and by a big distance. Just not enough runs on the board, so you can't fault the bowlers too much. And again, in the way they win, Mumbai Indians, when they chase down targets like this, you see some kind of ruthlessness, you see audacity, you see some mind-boggling shots. So man-to-man as well. A very superior team to the rest of the IPL. The only challengers that they've had for a few years now, CSK was out, so there you go.
The only other team to actually win back-to-back titles has been CSK, Gautam. You've won 2 yourself. It's always hard to follow up a championship winning season with another one. It doesn't seem so hard anymore with the Mumbai Indians. I'm just going to have to wait till I get Gautam's audio sorted. But I'll come back to him. Let's go to Tom Moody, who's also been in a dressing room that's won the IPL and that has fallen short. And with all his years of watching the IPL, this is the most formidable team in T20 cricket that we've seen in a long time, Tom.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Mumbai Indians are, comfortably, and I mean comfortably, the best side and have been for a number of years. I think the way they played this final, the way they've played this year's IPL, they've just brushed their opponents aside. Yes, they've lost a couple of games, but outside of that, they haven't really been challenged. What they have shown is their incredible depth of quality that they boast, both from an overseas perspective and a domestic perspective, with the great depth of Indian players they have. And they've also shown some, I think some pretty clever strategic moves, both on the field when they have been led by 2 different captains throughout the year with Kieron Pollard and Rohit Sharma. I think strategically they've both been very, very good. And also their off-field team led by Mahela Jayawardene. And a good example was, the inclusion of Yadav in this final.
Yep, point well made. They get their tactics right more often than others. They get selections right more often than others. Gautam, I hope I've got you back now. Let's hear your first thoughts on what's looking like a real team that, for generation, this Mumbai Indians team that keep winning the IPL. All right, it's a shame. I've still not been able to get Gautam. I hope we can sort this out. Don't worry, we'll come back to you. No one's going to let Gautam Gambhir go without getting every bit of information.
Yeah, Gambhir's IT guy is on it now.
Yeah, he's got this whole staff. He's got a whole army there, just like the Mumbai Indians backroom staff. Gautam Gambhir has got the resources. We'll make sure we get him. Gautam, let me try now. No, I still not.
Are you trying to ignore Ronak, Gautam?
No. Who would dare? Nobody would. All right, we'll figure this out. We'll give us a couple of minutes. It's all fun. Yes, I've now got you. Gautam, come on. First thoughts.
It's just the ruthlessness of the side. The way they approach this chase. See, 156, and look at the intent as well. In the first 2 overs, you could see the intent clearly. Yes, they're a far superior side than the rest of the sides, no doubt. But sometimes you can actually get carried away with the kind of squad you've got as well. Sometimes there could be leniency as well, and probably you can just take things for granted as well. But not with this Mumbai Indians, and that is why, and that is how you create legacies for generations. That is how you create a culture, and it's just the ruthlessness. Whether they bowl first, whether they bat first, first ball of the game, they were right on the money with the bat. They had clear intent, and that is what made them 5-time champions.
Yeah, I like that you make that point. Let's talk about some of those key signs that were sent by the Mumbai Indians batting in this chase. No half measure, Sanjay. Ashwin had dismissed Rohit Sharma first ball last time, and here Rohit is stepping out and whacking him for 6. The intent of Rohit rather, versus Ashwin set the tone for the chase.
Yes, if you saw the way he defended the first ball, there was a lot more intent, and he was playing like this was the match. This is the final. Until then, I mentioned earlier as well, he seemed, a little relaxed. I'm not saying that he took things casually, but you could see that he was playing it like the big final. The first ball, although it was just a defensive push, he was right on top of the ball. The front leg had stretched forward, and then he hit that 6 that just went over long on. And from the other end, then you had Quinton de Kock going after Rabada, and Rabada had to be taken off after 1 over. So that is where, moves are set. Like we saw Stoinis in the last game against SRJ, how he set the mood of that their batting by the way he played in the first couple of overs. We saw that in the run chase, it's again going to be that typical ruthless approach from Mumbai Indians, starting with ball number 2.
Then Rohit Sharma saved one of the better innings for the end. We thought, Tom, that towards the end of the season, the bigger threat is from an informed Suryakumar Yadav, or from Ishan Kishan, or from Pandya and Pollard. But that's just the thing about this Mumbai Indian side. Anyone in that top 7 is good enough to win you a game.
Well, interesting enough, Rohit Sharma hasn't got a great record in finals. He certainly has as a captain, but not as a batsman. But again, who would ever dare count out a player of Rohit Sharma's quality not to shine in a final? And today he shone. He was superb the way that he tackled that run chase. He showed great leadership with the bat. And he set the tone, as my colleagues have talked about. He made it very clear that Mumbai Indians weren't going to tiptoe to this total. They were going to charge it down.
I wonder, Gautam, if Delhi could have made just more of a fight of this, try and make that 156 look a lot more in the final, in a chase. Andrik Nokia bowls the 4th over and then goes missing till the 17th until he comes back and gets Rohit. Rabada bowls just 1 over between the 2nd and the 12th. Could you have done anything differently to just make this harder for Mumbai?
See, you got to realize who are your wicket-taking options. Your wicket-taking options is Rabada. So even if he's gone for runs in the first over, you got to back him to bowl the 2nd over. You can't keep changing people after 1 over. You can't keep changing your premier fast bowler who's bowled the 2nd over of the innings, and then he doesn't bowl in the power play, and then Nokia comes in and bowls 1 over in the power play. That is not how you actually try and defend 156. To defend 156 against a lineup like Mumbai Indians, you've got to strike early. Even if they get off to a flyer, even if they get off to a 6 over 70, but at least you need to get 2 or 3 wickets up front. You're still in the game. But if they don't lose wickets in the first 6, you're never there in the game, because people like Pandya, people like Pollard, they'll hurt you in the back end of the innings. Ishan Kishan, all these guys. But I want to make a point here. Look at the intent. We spoke about Rohit Sharma's intent, Quinton de Kock's intent. Suryakumar Yadav, first ball of Stoinis, back foot punch 4. 2nd ball went for 6. So they were very clear in the dressing room that 156, they're going to approach like a champion side. And I've always made a point, this is a statement. This is how you make a statement. When you chase 156 and you come out and say that why we are talking about that there is a huge gap between number 1 and number 2 side, is the way they actually chase this total. Had they actually gone on to probably made it probably in the last 1 or 2 deliveries, or they just have scrabbled through this chase, then you would have thought that Delhi was always there in the game. And that is how you built a champion side, and probably a side which is absolutely ruthless.
Does it just come over time, Tom, and this team's got enough players that have won championships? Or is there something that you need to keep re-injecting to make sure they don't fall short on the night? It's not an upset that's on the cards. Just because they're favourites, they don't come second to Delhi, because they have one bad game. Can you re-inject something in what's an experienced side to make sure they play the way that Gautam says they did?
Yeah, look, I think they've got the experience. They maintain the experience. They've been very clever with their recruitment. Then they've been also very clever, with which we've touched on with trades over the years. So, Mumbai Indians are constantly trying to evolve and set the benchmark. And I think they're a franchise that have high expectations as well. I'm not saying every other franchise doesn't have high expectations, but their owners are used to, delivering excellence, and this part of their business is no different. So there's enormous pressure on all the players and staff to continue to evolve and continue to grow and be better than what they were the year before.
We also see, Sanjay, about the Mumbai Indians, players improve with each year. Surya Kumar Yadav is playing the cricket of his life. Ishan Kishan is, they've identified him from the Gujarat Lions, picked him up. He's had a breakthrough season too. He was there towards the end. He perhaps represents the new age of cricket when it comes to either the India keeper batsman options or even the Mumbai Indians future. And these are players that just continue to improve. If you would have said Ishan Kishan and Surya are going to be your two standout batsmen pre-season, you may or may not have gone with that. But that's something about Mumbai Indians as well.
And let's not forget, it's been hard earned for Mumbai Indians, this dominance. If you remember the first 6 years, CSK was the dominant side. They were winning more titles, and Mumbai Indians seemed to have, stars in their team who weren't able to convert that into winning performance in the end. Not enough titles to show. And there was also a time when they would actually release players of their own from their team, and that player would go out somewhere else and become a star. Like Dwayne Smith is one example that comes to mind. There have been few, and they were actually mocked for releasing players and strengthening other teams. Now that has been completely reversed, and now what is happening is that there's a winning culture. I see, signs of Australia when they were dominant as an international side at the international level. Mumbai Indians are quite similar. It's just this confidence where everyone comes in when they're batting, is backing himself to just go and dominate and not worry about the longer milestones or long-term plans. Ishan Kishan hit the 11th ball of his inning for a 6 against a fast bowler. Surya Kumar Yadav as well. So this chase that Gautam was mentioning, that they got so early and ruthless in the way they chase it, they have done it a few times this season. And that is how Australia used to. I remember a game against Bangladesh when they had to just get about 110 runs, and they got it in the 13th over to win the game. They would have tiptoed, to 25, 30 overs. So just this sense of dominance that you see. And once that kind of culture comes in, it's very difficult to, get rid of it. And finally, I must say, you have to compliment all those people involved at the auction who picked the right players, because this win hasn't surprised us. All of us knew that this is a very good side. So there's some people there, I don't know who they are, who do a tremendous job at the auction.
Yes, Gautam.
So just want to add on from where Sanjay has left, and you got to criticize some of the franchise as well. Surya Kumar Yadav is not easily earned by Mumbai Indians. It's probably the biggest loss that KKR has ever had in 13 years. Someone who was young, came into KKR, played for 4 years, obviously couldn't get the number which he should have batted at because of the whatever batting lineup we had at that time. Manish Pandey was batting at number 3, but he was batting at number 6 or 7. But then KKR could have easily built a side around Surya Kumar Yadav. He was the vice captain when I was leading the side, made him the vice captain so that there's an easy transition. I could see that leadership quality which Surya Kumar Yadav had. Very selfless guy. You make him bat at number 6, you make him bat at number 7. He can bat at any number. There will never be a long phase that, yes, he wanted to bat at number 3. And that is the kind of players you want. And that is the kind of culture you have built in Mumbai Indians. So probably the biggest loss till now. Yes, players have gone from one franchise to the other. Chris Gale from KKR went to some other franchise. Yes, there are many other players. But probably for me, the biggest loss till now KKR has ever had is probably letting go of Surya Kumar Yadav, because you don't get Indian players with that kind of a talent. And plus the leadership skill. We still haven't seen his leadership quality. But he's got a great leadership quality. He's got a great head on his shoulder. He knows how to lead the side. Yes, because Rohit Sharma is so successful, we haven't seen the best of Surya Kumar Yadav. Going forward, I'm sure probably Surya Kumar Yadav will take over this side as well if he stays on with Mumbai Indians, because they will definitely see him as a leader in that group. So that is probably the biggest loss for KKR.
Yeah, we just want to pick up on one word. Sorry, Gautam.
I'm just saying, you develop a player for 4 years.
And
then you've shown a lot of faith in a young player. You've made him play all the games, and suddenly when the time comes to build a team around him, you end up letting him go. And now, if you see in India, there are not many players like Surya Kumar Yadav with the kind of range he's got. So sometimes it's not only about Mumbai Indians; it's also sometimes you got to criticize the mindset of the other franchise as well. That what kind of a mindset do they go in the auction with?
Yep, Sanjay.
Yeah, the point I wanted to make was the word that Gautam mentioned when he was making this observation: selfless. Now that is something that you find with every player in that Mumbai Indians team, and that's why as a batting unit they are so dangerous, because they stay in the moment. Quinton de Kock, I mean, amazingly selfless. Surya Kumar Yadav, as Gautam mentioned, risked right from the word go. The captain leads by example. In the opposition, we've seen Delhi Capitals through the season that not every player out there looks selfless. They seem to have some kind of an agenda. They put prize on their wicket while they were batting or maybe while bowling. Today, I expected Ashwin to be the man taking charge and looking for wickets. But, as I feared, the moment he realized, he went for runs in the first over. After that, out came the carom ball, then the seam up deliveries. So that wasn't the bowler looking for wickets. So that's the other strength that Mumbai Indians have. They have the ability, they have the confidence, but more importantly, every player in that team is selfless.
And if someone needs to be selfish, it has to be someone like Surya Kumar Yadav and Ishan Kishan, because they still haven't made it to the Indian team. Guys who've already made it to the Indian team can actually be even more free, can even be more selfless. There is nothing on stake for Shreyas Iyer. There is nothing on stake for Rishabh Pant. The team has already been decided. It's already been declared. Probably this should have given them a more freedom. If someone who needs to play to make it to the Indian side has to be people like Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav. But this is the kind of culture Mumbai Indians have built. And this is the kind of, and that's why I say that Surya Kumar Yadav has got a lot of probably successful years going forward as well, not only as a player, but as someone as a leader as well.
Yep. Fair points. We've heard it time and time again that the auction, or rather the IPL, half of it is won at the auction table. But even if it isn't one at the auction table, Tom, at the risk of repeating yourself, some trades tend to help. Trent Bolt, Quinton de Kock, two players that have been so big for them this season, were trades, essentially gifts given to them by other franchises. Bolt didn't even involve a transfer going the other way or a trade going the other way. It was just Bolt to Mumbai for a bit of cash, and what an impact he's had instantly.
What I've found through my experience over the last few years in the IPL is that Mumbai Indians are probably one of the most active teams with regards to, seeking trade opportunities. They're not afraid to knock on your door and ask for the ridiculous. And they keep knocking on the door. And if they keep doing that to 7 other franchises, they're eventually going to get what they want. It may not be their first option, but they'll definitely get something which will make them, whether it be 2% or 5% better, it'll make them better. So they have the ambition and the front to be able to continue to knock on other franchises' doors and try to get the trades that seem impossible. I remember them. It may have been 2 years ago, requesting a trade for Rashid Khan, really, come on. But no other franchise had the gumption or the bravado to be able to knock on the door and say, look, we'd like to trade, get a trade for Rashid Khan. It's like, well, okay, yeah, I'm sure you do. So does the rest of the world.
No, that's a fair point. I've heard it in, you could say, these are the sort of things that go around cricketing folklore. They knock on RCB's door asking for AB de Villiers every year, and obviously that door gets shut pretty often. What I'm trying to figure out is why other franchises don't replicate this activity outside of the IPL, whether it's auctions, whether it's scouting, whether it's trades. Why is it not something that other franchises can replicate? But they can't do it to the degree of Mumbai.
I think they do. But they don't do it with the same confidence. They don't do it with the same perseverance, and they don't do it with the same management structure behind their whole team philosophy. A lot of teams run a lot leaner than what Mumbai Indians do. And I can certainly speak from experience of the time that I had at Sunrisers, where, the support staff is probably half the size of what Mumbai Indians support staff is.
All right.
Yeah. See, Ronak, it's just the desperation and hunger to be the most successful side as well. And it comes from the owners.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and like how we talk about leadership, accountability, it flows from the top to the bottom. It's just the desperation that Mumbai Indians wants to be the side to beat. They want to create a legacy. They want to be the most successful side. And there is nothing wrong in approaching someone for probably anyone. And it just shows that desperation to keep winning year after year, and they've already won it 5 times. What more than that?
Who's to say it's going to stop now? You don't think Mumbai is just going to stop?
So Ronak, it's not just the culture in the team.
Yes, Sanjay.
You've got to say the culture that the owners have with, whatever they do as well as an entity.
Yep, the industry of the Ambanis is well known. They are a hugely successful organization or a brand, and that's now associating with their IPL franchise as well. Well done to the Mumbai Indians. It's about the players and the support staff and everyone involved, and they are deserved champions of this year's IPL. And it's been a unique IPL, hasn't it, in the sense that fans haven't been able to watch their favorite sides at the stadium, but don't worry, because watching is the new everything. And as just before we close things off, we want to show you some stunning visuals from the host cities that have been such excellent hosts to this year's IPL. I tell you what, now is the time for these teams to just get out of the bubble and maybe explore the UAE in all its glory before they sign off, or maybe they're in a hurry to get home. I don't know. But what a fine tournament we've had. We entered into this year's IPL, Sanjay, with so much uncertainty in this world, and it's given us this escapism. It's given us so much entertainment, and it's been a flawless tournament with all that we thought could go wrong. Well done to everyone organizing it that it didn't.
Absolutely. Everyone involved, never easy. You've got to congratulate the BCCI. You've got to congratulate the host nation as well for providing excellent support. The coverage as well. Without crowds, it's difficult to, create the excitement. It didn't seem like there were no crowds. I love the idea of having the ambient sound, plus the stands are covered in such a way that, during test matches, you see empty stand. And that really puts you off. Didn't happen during this IPL. So congratulations to them as well. The commentators, everybody, and the cricket until the league stage. I think it was the best league stage that we've seen in the IPL, where there was this great fight to get into the final four. Pity the final was a bit one-sided, but we had more excitement until the final, in the finale. So I thought another IPL to remember, as all IPLs have been, except for T20. You can't go wrong with T20.
Yeah, Gautam, the IPL is getting more and more competitive. You had a team finishing 8th on 12 points. Everyone who was right up to 7th and 8th was in a position to qualify till the very last days of the league stage. Yes, Mumbai Indians are a team above it, but it only bodes well for the future of the IPL. We've seen a very competitive, very entertaining season, haven't we?
No, absolutely. And plus, that's the reason why we say that IPL is probably the toughest league in the world, because you have equal opportunity on the auction table. All the franchises have equal opportunity on the auction table, and that's why half the job is done on the auction table. And none of the sides, you can say, all the sides have got world-class players, from Rajasthan Royals to Chennai Super Kings to Mumbai Indians. It's just that how you build that culture, whether you've got enough quality of Indian players, Indian quality players, and that is what separates Mumbai Indians from the rest. You see someone like Rajasthan Royals, they've got the best all-rounder in the world. They've got Jofra Archer, they've got Josh Butler, but look, Mumbai Indians, they've got quality international players, but look at the Indian players what Mumbai has as compared to probably some of the other franchises.
Yeah.
Surya Kumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma, you've got Jasprit Bumrah, Pandya brothers. So that's the difference. Difference will not be overseas. Difference will always come down to what kind of a quality Indian players do you have. And I'm sure Tom can actually have his view on this that better, because he's worked with a lot of with Sunrisers for a very long time. It's the actually Indian players that creates hope. And the better quality of Indian players you have, your overseas will end up becoming better alongside them, and the franchise will have more performances, especially consistent performances in the IPL.
Yeah, I mean, good luck, Tom, with figuring out who's to retain if the big auction comes your way. If you have to only retain 3 or 5 or whatever the rules will be, if the big auction does come up in the next few months.
Yeah, that's going to be their headache, but they seem to be able to maneuver their position at the auction to still manage to retain as many of their players as possible, but also shrewd with their recruitment outside of that. So, look, and that's what makes their success quite intriguing, in that, the way the auction runs every 3 years. Okay, there's been 1 year where it went out to 4 years, but the auction's geared to bring the dominance away from certain teams. So everyone nearly starts from scratch again. Yes, you can retain up to 5 players, but you retain up to 5 players with a huge penalty to your salary cap. So you need to be very smart with regards to your retention firstly, and then how you then go about your auction and what right to match cards you use against what players, and who do you purchase outside of the auction from there. So look, they've done it well, both on and off the field. They dominate, and that's why they've won 5.
Right. If I have to ask you for takeaways, one thing that stands out after IPL 2020 as we look to conclude our coverage of this and what's been a remarkable year. Who knows if we have another IPL in the UAE in less than 6 months' time. But I have to ask you for one takeaway, something that this tournament has taught you, perhaps that you were surprised with. The first thing that comes to mind, you can take a minute. Conditions, we've had some excellent pitches from all 3 grounds, something in it for the bowlers. So what would it be? Sanjay, let me go to you first.
Yeah, I think off the cuff, if you have to take one important lesson, and let's be mindful of the fact that this IPL was in UAE, so the pitches weren't as flat and as easy as you'd get sometimes in India. Is the big takeaway for me is maybe youth is not really something that should excite you. Youth, power, and pace are the 3 factors that could be maybe looked at as not an imperative, but something that should be there along with some other very important qualities, which is really being about T20 smartness, a little bit of seasoned, cricketing experience. And then if you have power alongside it and other things, that's fine. The success of people like Natarajan, Sandeep Sharma, a lot of batsmen, like Mayank Agarwal, not a T20, sort of a star. So I would like to see less owners getting excited by under-19 talent, fast-tracking, young fast bowlers or batsmen who seem to have the hitting ability straight into IPL, because this is a tough tournament. And it's not just about hitting power. It's about a lot of other things as well.
Fair point. Tom?
Yeah, look, I'd agree with those points. I think they're good points, well made. The real takeaway for me was how phenomenal this machine, if I could put it that way, the IPL is under enormous stress in a unprecedented time. We seem to be able to still run an incredibly successful tournament when India, being normally the host of the Indian Premier League, manages to move it to another place, which they've done before in South Africa many years ago, and still create an extraordinarily successful tournament that puts a lot of smiles and a lot of welcome happiness into a lot of lounge rooms during a very, very difficult time.
Well said, Tom.
Absolutely. Gautam?
See, most of the points are covered. Sanjay's most of the points Tom has, but from the cricketing point of view, I feel that I have to go with what Sanjay just mentioned. You can't fast track players from under 19s. No, you actually sometimes are risking their careers as well. Look at someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal. Look at someone, yes, Prithvi Shaw's got all the talent, he's done really well. But the most important thing, what I've actually noticed, not only in this year's IPL, but overall in all the IPLs, are to stay in that particular year, to build a team for that particular year. That's the reason why Chennai has been so successful. That's the reason why Mumbai has been so successful. This policy of building a team for next 5 or 6 or 7 years doesn't work in IPL. It's not English Premier League where you can retain as many as you want. After 3 years, you will have to let go of a chunk of your squad. So stay in that moment, in that particular year, and probably invest in guys who've actually been groomed reasonably well in first class cricket, and then probably pick them for the IPL.
All right. Well, that is pretty much a wrap. The takeaway, if you ask me, is that we can sit at home and have this sort of exhaustive, no holds barred, unprecedented chat, whether you're sitting in Perth or whether in the UAE or in Delhi like Gautam, in Mumbai like Sanjay, with Ian Bishop and Ajit Agarkar and Deeptas Gupta and Akash Chopra in those bubbles, or whether it's Gautam, and we've got more time out of Gautam this year. We've got Tom Moody, who's probably sick and tired of my voice. He's probably going to be welcoming not having to turn his screen on tomorrow. But it's been an absolutely wonderful coverage of the tournament from all of you. I have the 3 of you to thank. So big thank you to Tom Moody, Gautam Gambhir, and Sanjay Manjha. I'm sure we will get more from them very, very soon. And that is pretty much a wrap from all of us at ESPN Cricinfo through the course of our coverage of Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout powered by Dell in an unprecedented year, a team that has now won an unprecedented 5th IPL in a never-to-be-forgotten year of 2020. It is the Mumbai Indians that are champions. Thank you so much for joining us throughout this tournament. Do watch out for coverage as India's tour of Australia commences pretty soon. Until then, from all of us, goodbye.